Hello, NAAOP members and friends. This is Peter Thomas, NAAOP General Counsel in Washington, D.C., with the mid-February web clip to update you on what's occurring in Washington that impacts orthotics and prosthetics. We're working very hard, along with all of the O&P community, to try to advance the orthotic and prosthetic agenda, both at CMS and HHS and within the Congress, to make sure that orthotics and prosthetics is protected and advances into the future. There are two major developments that have occurred over the recent several weeks. The first is the introduction by President Obama of his 2013 federal budget. That's fiscal year 2013, which begins on October 1st of 2012. The budget is largely viewed as a political document. It really is a blueprint for the administration's plans on spending. This budget actually is quite political in the sense that it maintains some very significant spending increases for research, education, infrastructure, and technology, and makes some pretty significant cuts in other areas. But overall, the budget would still produce a deficit in 2013 of over $1 trillion. And of course, that has prompted many on Capitol Hill, particularly the Republican members of Congress in the House and Senate, to proclaim the Obama budget, quote-unquote, dead on arrival. The House and Senate will design their own budget proposals and push those forward. But ultimately, it's unlikely that the House and Senate will reach a budget resolution this year. In fact, Harry Reid, who's the Senate Majority Leader, has already announced that the Senate will not be producing a budget in 2013. The reason for this is because the budget discussions and the debt ceiling agreements from last summer produced certain spending targets for fiscal year 2013. And so in large measure, the federal agencies are already know the overall numbers that they're supposed to be that they're supposed to receive in funding in the next fiscal year. The other major developments that has occurred, in fact, just recently was announced in an agreement in principle to extend the physician fee schedule fix. In other words, to not cut the physician fee schedule under Medicare by 27.4%, which is currently scheduled to occur on March 1 of 2012. There was an agreement, at least an agreement has been reached. Whether the House and Senate will pass that agreement is still yet to be resolved, but it's likely to occur over the next several days. That agreement, as in addition to providing doctors with a 0% update over the next 10-month period, also extends the current treatment of the therapy caps under the Medicare program. And so the therapy caps will not go into effect, as would have occurred on March 1st. Assuming this legislation passes, the therapy caps extensions process will be continued, and there'll be certain exemptions for people who need more therapy than the cap would require. And so both of those were major items to have achieved in this Congress. It extends that through the end of this fiscal year. And just the physician fees fix alone costs the federal government $18 billion over 10 years. That has to be offset with various provisions. I'm happy to say that the orthotic and prosthetic field will not be impacted by any of those offsets. The Medicare physician fee schedule often creates a situation where other fee schedules, like the O&P fee schedule, could be rated as an offset to try to pay for some of those changes. That did not occur. I must tell you that there's been a fair amount of advocacy from the O&P community to make sure that that did not occur, and in fact, that's exactly how it's playing out. So overall, a good week for the O&P field. Although I must tell you that the changes and the major developments that have occurred this week are not so specific that they impact O&P in a material way, at least with respect to the granularity of some of the policy changes that are taking place that we care about as O&P practitioners and consumers. The fact is that many of these issues are at a 30,000-foot level, but they'll get much more detailed in the future, and we'll be here to report them to you. Thanks so much for listening.